BRICS countries, Western countries, all on board for Agenda 2030. The people in charge of climate finance for the UN, Mike Bloomberg, the billionaire, and Mark Carney. I think your viewers know enough about Mark Carney to know why that's insane. And to think that Mark Carney and Jamie Dimon and Mike Bloomberg and Bill Gates and all of these guys just care so much about the planet and not about robbing you of all of your wealth, which is what they've spent their entire careers doing. Come on, guys. We have to like watch what people do and like judge them by their actions.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to dig very deep to understand that people like Mark Carney or Bill Gates are most definitely not your friend. But after today's video, you're going to understand that they're not just not your friend. They're complete enemies. I mean, these are people that would love nothing more than to eradicate 99.9% of the human population. I mean, Bill Gates has literally gone on record saying this, which I'm going to show you guys as well, because that is truly shocking and something that I think should concern us, especially considering this is the same guy who is responsible for giving all of us vaccines and head of these organizations like the WHO, and is going on these speeches and talking about the importance of vaccinating your children. I don't think that's somebody you should necessarily trust, but it goes a lot deeper than that. I mean, we're talking about a plan that many elitists have to not just take away your life potentially, but first to start with the internet, electricity, and your cash. They're going to attack and create a massive event which pretty much threatens all of these things, where you're essentially forced to comply into a new system where you do not have access to any of these things on your own volition. It's now going to be completely under their control. And if that sounds a little bit concerning to you, well, you're most definitely going to want to be prepared for it. And we're going to talk about how to prepare for that in today's video as well, because this agenda, this plan, is likely to commence and start in 2025. And it's going to start off slow, but it's going to come to a boiling point, and you best believe you want to be prepared when that does happen. But with that being said, let's get into exactly what Webb says here so we can understand, I guess, the full issue that's at hand here. And then we'll talk about solutions towards the end of this video.
Now is them literally tokenizing all their existing rackets to move it into this new, like, fourth industrial revolution paradigm. That's literally what is happening across the board, and people just, like, don't recognize it. And they're cloaking it in all this stuff, like, specifically with, like, SDGs and Agenda 2030. It's like, this will make a better world. And then you actually, like, look at it, and it's like, this is insane. Why are all bankers in charge of this? I hate it so much. But I mean, you go back into like the UN Secretary General Kofi Annan, like at the end of the 90s was like, yeah, so you know how we used to be at least viewed as like the public sector, the public sectors of the world all coming together to like democratically vote on stuff. Well, now we've basically been taken over by corporations, and how the business of the businesses of the world is our business. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said. In order to create this space where they want to like push people into this new system, there's going to be chaos and there's going to be instability. And so the comfort and convenience that keeps people asleep will be disrupted. What people do in that point in time is the most critical about this whole thing, about how it plays out. Seriously, like that is the most important window. And again, that is why it's so important to be local. Because, okay, there's a big cyber tech on the financial system. The internet goes down for a couple of days. What are people going to do? They're going to go out in the street and look for answers, figure out what's going on. This is why it's important to know what's going on and couple that with having, connections in your local community so you can direct people about what needs to be done and what's happening at that point in time. It's like very important. Well, also the internet, when it turns back on, isn't going to be like the internet now at all. No. They're going to put AI in charge of like literally all content. Your ID is going to be tied to not just everything you post online, but everything you read and consume, every site you visit. And they plan to pass all of that through AI to determine if you're a threat to the system or not. This is all like predictive policing. All of this stuff is built into this system. Specifically in the US, the Biden administration already has the policy framework developed. They've had it since, they first came into power in 2021. Eric Schmidt, right? Who basically runs like AI national security policy for the US too, and is like funding all this science and technology policy stuff. Basically, key officials in that of the Biden administration are being paid, their salaries are being paid by Eric Schmidt. It's like super illegal, and Politico reported on it and like nothing was done. They were like, well, I see you found out, and that is that. That guy has an insane amount of power. He was just on a podcast talking about what needs to be done about misinformation. And he was saying, we need to get everyone's ID tied to social media. And then when people post misinformation, report them to law enforcement.
And I know a lot of you might think this is not possible to happen in a place like America or Canada or Europe. But wait a second. This is actually happening right now in the United Kingdom. You might have noticed there's been a lot of political unrest lately all over England. There's been, mosques being burned down, churches being burned down. There's a lot of, political unrest there. And some people have taken to social media to talk about this and what's happening to those individuals. They quite literally are getting visits from the police in the UK, and they are getting arrested and thrown in jail. And they are taking the jail cell of somebody who was like a convicted, horrible person, like a murderer or something, and they're going in jail for talking about events that are happening right now that they disagree with, that they frankly think should not be happening. This is a reality right now in developed Western nations. So if you do not think this is possible to happen in the United States of America, in Canada, no matter where you are in the world, it very much is possible to be happening. And this is something you definitely need to be looking out for, because if you're not prepared for that, if you're not getting ready for that, because that's the agenda these individuals do have, you most definitely are going to be one of those sheeple that are just blindly going to be moving along into their agenda, and they're just going to continuously coerce you around until one day you wake up and you and your family do not have any ability to make any decisions on your own without first having to ask some elitist. And I don't think any of you want that. I mean, frankly, the government's supposed to serve us, right? That's what it's supposed to be like, but that's definitely not happening right now. Well, crazily enough, actually, this is also already starting to happen in the United States of America. I mean, check this news article out. Utah man killed by FBI agents after he allegedly made threats against Biden. Let's listen a little bit more to what Whitney Webb says here.
Posted stuff about how he hated Joe Biden and how Joe Biden shouldn't come in his neighborhood and all this stuff on Facebook. And then the FBI shot him in front of his house, and he was like an old disabled guy. Eric Schmidt's idea is a very bad idea. It's a very bad idea. Eric Schmidt is also a dangerous fascist who controls a large amount of U.S. government policy right now, and how the government and the intelligence agencies and the military plan to use AI.
And so here's probably the most shocking thing of all, right? This is just talking more and diving deeper into the whole AI thing that Whitney Webb was talking about. AI-generated content is on the rise. I have a friend who is creating AI-generated music, uploading it to YouTube, and his videos are getting tens of thousands of views. And he's most definitely not the only person that's currently doing this. We actually have a lot of people using AI to generate news articles, using it to generate music, using it to generate whole YouTube videos with a script you just provide for it, writing assignments, school projects, you name it. AI is starting to take over completely online generated content, and many experts are agreeing that AI generated content is going to be 90% of all internet content by 2025. So what does this have to do with what Whitney Webb is talking about here? Well, here's the thing. This is the future that these elitists want, because they're the ones who are developing these AI programs. And what we've already seen is these AI programs are already extremely biased. They push certain political narratives. They are not perfect. They most definitely do not represent our best interests as people, because it's impossible to do that if it's being developed by somebody who's giving it very specific parameters to do what they want. It's representing that person's needs, and then this is what we're going to be seeing online. This is what's going to be controlling the social media algorithms for absolutely everybody. This is going to be what is quite literally going to be all the content we're going to be consuming. Does that sound like a healthy future to you? Well, it's absolutely not. And if all of this is regulated and controlled by the government and tied to our digital IDs, that is most definitely a concerning future that I think none of you should want to have any part in. I know I sure as heck do not want that to be my future. That sounds like a complete dystopian nightmare. So the question is, what do we need to do? What is the solution? That's what we're finally going to get into. Whitney Webb starts this discussion. I'm going to provide some more context. Listen closely. This is really important.
What has to be done is people have to divest from Silicon Valley and Wall Street as much as possible. Because basically, what I call the blob that basically runs the US, it's the national security state, it's Silicon Valley and it's Wall Street. Okay. It's harder to divest from the US government if you're living in the US than it is to divest from big tech and Wall Street. You can take your money out of JP Morgan and Wells Fargo and Citi, and you can stop using Google products, Microsoft products. You can not use OpenAI maybe, which is basically Microsoft, and all of this other stuff, because they plan to do a lot of bad stuff with your data, like a lot of very bad things.
So there it is. That is the solution, right? It's to divest. It's to escape the systems that these individuals have built, right? The banks. Now, banks, no matter where you are in the world, they're part of this problem. The technology companies like Microsoft, like Google, like Whitney Webb was mentioning, right? Not investing into them, not giving them liquidity, not using their services as much as is possible for you to still be able to get through your life. Those things are all extremely crucial. So this is what I've started doing is I've started taking all of my money out of all of these major banks, and I've been looking at more local funded banks that I know are not involved in these types of issues that of course are very secure. That's my first step. My next step from there is to get rid of all debt, because I do not want to be part of this debt slavery system that they have. That is really crucial as well. Getting out of debt as soon as possible. And then furthermore, not investing in any of these technology companies. Now, if you guys are looking for an alternative financial solution to all of this, it's actually quite simple. Cryptocurrency is a fantastic way to escape the banking sector. And so that's where I store the majority of my wealth today. It's in cryptocurrency exchanges, cryptocurrency cold wallets. If you guys are looking for a great crypto exchange that is very welcoming to all different levels of individuals, I highly recommend that you guys check out Margex, linked down below in my description. I am partnered with them. I am working with them because they are doing right by society. And also, I use it for trading every single day, and me and my community are making amazing profits doing that, tens of thousands of dollars every single month. So if you guys want to be part of that community, make sure you sign up to Margex and you join my Discord. Link down below will teach you some awesome money-making strategies and also help you get out of this system, which we all know is built against us and not for us. With that being said, if you guys enjoy today's content, please drop a like and a subscription. It's completely free. I'll see you guys in my Discord community. Peace out.